Hey everybody, Joe from Britical Saiyans here, and today I'm going to be showing you set 21 cell, or maybe imperfect cell, I don't know, it's just a cell deck. So start with, when you play, you put Ginger Town in your opponent's battle area, and Ginger Town is not a field, so you don't have to worry about all that malarkey. It's got an active main where you switch it to rest mode and you place a green android from your hand to the bottom of the deck to draw 2. So you essentially just trade a card to draw a card because you're only plus 1 card. And then its awakenings when you're at 5 less, or you have a cell with an energy cost of 3 in play. You place a 17 and 18, both green, cost 2, from your deck into your opponent's battle area, and then you go down to 5 and flip this card over. So the benefit of the 17 and 18 is that they have autos if your opponent is cell, which they obviously will be because you're the cell player, you've given them those cards. So it works out. It's got a permanent where, unless there is a 17-18, both green cost 2, undiscarded, you can't Z-awaken. So kind of annoying, but it does have an auto which places them underneath, so you're fine. It's got auto once per turn. When one of your opponent's battle cards is used in the combo, you give this 5k until the end of your opponent's turn. So there's plenty of ways to do that because comboing your token counts. And then when this card attacks, you draw 1, choose 1 battle card with an energy cost of 3 or less in your drop or your opponent's battle area and place it under this card. So you just take the 17 and 18, shove them underneath, draw a card, and then there you go, you've got your Z awaken costs. Well, activation I should say. Next we have got Ginger Town. We'll just go through this now. So if your opponent's leader is a green cell and this card is in your battle area, your Earthling tokens can't attack, and you can't use your Earthling tokens or green 17-18s with an energy cost of 2 in a combo. So all the Earthling tokens they basically can't touch. The 17-18 they could attack with, but there's no point, and they can't use any of it in the combo. So they can't just be like, oh, I'm going to combo off all your tokens and your 17s and 18s so you get nothing. They can't do that. They are just on your opponent's side of the board, ready for you to absorb because you're self. So. And it does also have, before I get rid of it, also if it's your opponent's turn and this card's in your battle, when your opponent plays a mono green cell from their hand, you play 2 Earthling tokens in your battle, and your opponent can't activate extra cards with counter skills for the game. So it locks you out of using, say, like the negate blocker cards or any counter plays you might use that extra cards. But the plus side is you get tokens. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is there's an errata on the leader where you can only use androids in your deck. So you can't have like charismatic villain or cooler or any of that. It's only androids, which kind of makes it annoying to build the deck. So next we got our Z deck, and to start with we've got 3 Z leaders, all different. So you got Cell Waiting Impatiently, About to Explode, and Perfect Resurrection. So I'll go in this order just so you understand how it works out. So you've got Waiting Impatiently, which is 1 ZNG, pay 1 to Z awaken on top of a cell leader with an original power of 10. So this leader, your Z's attack 2 cell leaders, so these 2. When this card attacks, you draw, and then when your life is at 3 or less and you play 1 Android 18 with an energy cost 2 from under this card in your opponent's battle area, when you take damage from an attack, place it to 1 cell about to explode from under this card on top of this card. So when you're on 3 or less, your opponent hits you, you pop out an 18 and you go into your next Z leader. So this one you can awaken onto a green cell when you're on 1 life, but you're not going to use it in other decks. Can't attack, and then if there's a cell Perfect Resurrection under this card, and your life becomes 0, instead of losing the game, choose all of your opponent's battle cards and unison cards other than Earthling tokens, place them in a drop, add 2 cards from the top of your deck to your life, then play a Perfect Resurrection on top of this card. And at the beginning of your turn, you take your life. So no matter what, you will explode and go into the Perfect Resurrection. So 3 ZNG, 2 for Z Awaken on 3 or less with green cell. So you could run this in other decks, but I don't think you're really going to, unless you can just spare the resources. When it's played into your leader area, it gains 5 for the turn, so it becomes 25k the first turn you play it. When this card attacks, you draw and then KO one of your opponent's battle cards. And it's got active battle once per turn. You can activate the active battle skill on one green extra card with both Cell and Kamehameha without paying its energy cost. So I will show you those in a sec, but well, actually I'll just show you quickly now. Basically you can activate these cards without paying their cost once per turn, and you can do it during either player's turn because it's just active battle. It's not during the battle you attacked or anything like that. And then our other Z card is just 3 copies of Cell Greedy Absorption. So it costs 1, 2 ZNG, 5k power. If it's in your Z deck, you may play it without paying the 2 ZNG by switching 2 Earthling tokens to rest mode. Alternate 1, when this card attacks, use one of your opponent's Earthling cards with an energy cost of 1 or an Earthling token in the combo. If you do, this gains 5k until the end of your opponent's turn. So automatically when you swing it, you become 15k because Earthling tokens are 5k combos, and this gains 5k. Or the thing you take from your opponent is probably a 5k combo. And it's got active mainlet 1. If your leader is green Cell and you choose a total of 2 or more of your opponent's Earthling tokens and Earthling cards with an energy cost of 1 or Earthling tokens removed from the game, this gains 10k for a turn. So you can just pick off their small Earthling cards, or you just take the Earthling tokens. The chances are you're taking the Earthling tokens unless they're playing a deck that has 1 cost Earthlings, but that's kind of rare these days. Good against Spirit Bomb, I guess, but it's kind of situational at best. So next we've got our only extra cards for the deck, which is 3 copies of Cell's Earth-Destroying Kamehameha and Cell's Full Power Kamehameha. So the Earth-Destroying one is active battle. If your leader is green, choose one of your green leader or battle card and it gets 15 for the battle. And then its auto is if all your energy is green, does mean multicolor as well. When you activate this card, choose one card in your opponent's hand and place it in their drop. So it's a 15k combo and your opponent ditches card. And then this one is active battle. If your leader is green Cell Z leader, you draw 1, then you can choose one of the following. Choose one of your green cells and gains 15 for the battle. Choose up to 1 keyword skill on one of your opponent's battle cards and negate it for a turn. Or if it's your turn, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So this one has more versatility in how you use it, but you can only activate it once you're on the Z leader. So you are basically waiting to activate it through the Z leader. This one you could just use whenever. But a nice 3-3 split on them, just because you're basically waiting till you hit your Z leader and you just go like, okay, once per turn I'm going to play one of these unless I need to push, and in which case I'm going to use multiple. So going into the battle cards now, start with our 1-drops. And to begin with we have 2 copies of 17 Impending Crisis. So it's a counter-attack, negate and play. And auto, if your leader is an android, when you play this card, choose one battle card with an energy cost of 4 less that has android in its name from your deck and you may place it in the drop. So it's an android negate we can play because it's android and we can't use extra cards as negates. And then it can get rid of excess androids, which is going to be your spare copies of these 2. Because once you've played them out to your opponent's area, you don't need any more, so it's a way of deck thinning the useless cards at your deck. And then next we got our other 1-drops, which I'll just explain together. We've got 4 copies of Cell Birth Omen and 3 copies of Cell Chrysalis Form. So Birth Omen is our top 5 searcher for a green cell, cost 5 or less, and Chrysalis Form is our pay 1 to draw a card. So your bog standard 1-drops these days are just a searcher and a draw. Every deck tends to have them, they're useful, you may as well just run them. And I like the 3-4 split because a lot of the time you do need at least 6 of these cards in the deck. So it's like, well, 3 of the draw 1, 4 of the searcher because the searcher is more useful. And they both have the same secondary auto of auto limit 1, pay 1 green. If your leader is green Cell Z leader and you remove one of your opponent's Earthling tokens from the game, when this card is used in the combo, play up to 1 green cell with an energy cost of 3 and 10k power from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So once you're on your Z leader, you can combo it, pay an energy, get a free cost to your board. So you pay 1 to get a body, which is pretty good. Next is our 2-drops. To start with, we've got our 17 and 18 Encroaching Evil. So these are your targets for your Awaken skill and what you absorb to Z-Awaken. So they both are 5k with Deflect, and Android 18 has the auto when if your opponent is a green cell, when this card is played, your opponent draws a card. So because our leader places them on the opponent's side of the field, you draw a card. And then this one is if your opponent's green cell, when this card is played, discard a card. So you give this to your opponent, they discard 1, and then you draw 1 from 18. And you just want a 2-2 split, because once you've played 1 out, you don't need any others. They just become fodder at that point. And next we got our super combos for the deck. So we've got 2 copies of 18 Bionic Blitz and 2 copies of Stout-Hearted 16. So the 18 is just a combo. If you're blue or green, when you combo from your hand, your opponent sends a card from their hand to the bottom of the deck. And then the 16 is when you're on 4 or less and you're a green android, you gain 10k and your opponent discards a card. So they're both just hand destruction. This one discards, this one sends to the bottom of the deck. It's just nice to have, and I always found that green 16 is just useful in green android decks because you're just constantly taking a card out of their hand. So I'm willing to make that 2-2. You can just go 4 18, like a lot of decks just use 4 18s, but I like having the 16 as additional hand destruction. Next we got our free costs, which I'll explain these 2 of these together because they're not too dissimilar. So we've got 4 copies of Cell the Meching Absorption and 3 copies of Cell Saiyan Absorption. You can fiddle around them, so I've just only been able to get 3 copies of Saiyan Absorption. So in the Meching one, it's Deflect. Permanent if it's 15k or more, it can't be carried once per turn. Really useful. It's got alternate 1, when this card attacks, use it to one of your opponent's Earthlings with a cost of 1 or an Earthling token in a combo. If you do, this gains 5k until the end of your opponent's turn. So you take one of their 1-cost Earthlings or one of their tokens, you hit your 15k, you're not going to die once per turn. And it's got active main at 1, pay 1 green, choose one of your opponent's Earthling tokens and switch it to rest mode, play this card from your hand. So you rest an Earthling, play it out, and then when it swings you can use that same Earthling to just combo and give yourself 5k. With the Saiyan Absorption, when it attacks you use a card, so the auto is basically the same, you can just use this card again in the combo. Active main at 1, pay 1 green, switch an Earthling to rest mode, Earthling token to rest mode, play them out from your hand. So same play cost, and this has, well, this one gains 10k instead of 5k like this one does. For the main reason of active main once per turn, if this card is powers 20k or more, so you combo an Earthling, gain 10k, you hit 20k. You can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, cost 5 or less, and KO it. So this gains 5, becomes unkillable once per turn. This gains 10, lets you kill something. Both really useful. The other free cost is 2 copies of Cell Preparing a Plan. So it's 10k barrier, permanent add 1 combo cost and energy cost to your opponent's 17 18s, both green, original cost of 2. And you may use them from your opponent's battle area when choosing a card with Cell and Successor. So the idea is that you can use them as free costs to go into either of these because they both are 9 costs. So it just makes it easier for you to play your Successor skills. And it's got active main at 1, you pay 1 green. If your leader is a green cell with 15 or more power, so once you've used your auto or once you've gone to your Z leader, play this card from your hand, play 1, 17 and 18, both cost 2, from your deck or drop into your opponent's area. If their skills negated, then shuffle your deck. So for 1 cost you can play him out, give them the 17 and 18, and then you pay your additional energy to just immediately success them away. So it's really useful, but it's one that I don't use as often. For a 4 cost, we've got 3 copies of Cell Giving Into Despair. So it's counter attack, then 1, negate and play. Opponent, if you're green Cell Z leader, you can activate counter by removing 2 Earthling tokens instead. And then when it's KO'd, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, cost 5 or less, and KO it. So it's essentially a free negate. You have this nice little body on the board, which you can combo. Or if your opponent blows it up, you can then just be like, okay, well, I'm going to blow up one of your things. It'd be really nice if it had blocker. That would make it really good. And then we've got 2 copies of Infernal Villainy Cell. So it's 20k with crit, and it's got an auto of when you play or combo it, you draw a card. So it's just another pseudo super combo to help with draw power. I only run 2 because of deck space, and it's a good enough number because you are having to pay 1 for the cost of the combo anyway. Next we've got our 6 drops for the deck. And to start with, we've got 2 copies of Cell Pursuit of Despair. So this is kind of like the boss that came out for it in the set. It's got double strike and 30k. When it's played from your hand, you play 2 Cell Junior tokens with 10k, and they gain an additional 5 for a turn, so you get 2 tokens at 15k. So active main at 1, pay 2 green. If your lead is green and your opponent's 3 or more energy, you play from hand. So you pay 2, play up the 6 cost, and you get 2 tokens. So for 2 energy, you get 3 bodies, one's a 30k double, and 2 are 15ks. And then it's got an active main. If you remove one of your tokens or one of your opponent's tokens from the game, you can remove 2 markers from their unison. That is very much match dependent, or if you just want to get rid of a token for whatever reason, because you're like, you know what, I'll get rid of your token, but I don't have a target, but I can still pick your token anyway, so enjoy. But like I said, really useful card. And next we've got 3 copies of Super 17 Total Eclipse. So I run this one instead of the Cell 6 cost, because I found that the Cell one can pop something, but its additional effect to draw your cards wasn't really going off, whereas this is just a constant draw for the same cost. It's barrier 20k, successor by paying a green and a yellow, and then it's got an auto of if the leader is an android card, when this card attacks or is placed in a drop from battle area by a skill, so say your opponent pops it or you use it for a successor cost, you draw a card, then you choose one of your opponent's cards and switch it to rest mode. So you can attack with it, draw, switch up to rest mode, you can send it off a successor, draw, switch another card to rest mode. It's just got quite a nice bit of versatility, and it's pretty decent for a 6 cost successor. So that's why I run 3 of it, just to help the deck out a little. Plus draw power is useful. You're not drawing as easily through the game, so it does come in handy. Next we got our 9 costs, and to start with we've got Cell Ultimate Life Form of Despair. So it's got 30k, obviously exhaust, double strike, dual attack, which that is a nasty combo. It's successor by paying a green, a yellow and 1 of energy. Permanent, if your leader is green Cell and you have a green android in your energy other than this card, you negate its energy exhaust. So it just makes for excellent charge fodder. That is largely why I wanted it in deck, just as a charge fodder card. And when it's played using successor skill that was activated by choosing 1 or more 17, 18 and Cell for the cost, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and carry it, then you add a Cell's full power Kamehameha from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So if you use, let me find it quickly. Yeah, so this Cell gives you the cost you need, because it's a free cost. It makes the 17, 18 free cost as well in your opponent's area by playing them out. So you pay 1 for that, pay 3 for the successor skill, and you have this one. And when it's played out doing that, you add this to your hand. So prepping a plan just enables this card so much, and then you get your secondary ability of drawing a card. Well, searching a card to your hand. Which is really useful, and then you just have a nice pressure unit. So, and our other 9 cost is the other cell, Unthinkable Perfection. So this one has triple strike, successor by paying a green, a yellow, and 2 other energy. So it costs more to make the successor play. But I feel like it's worth it because its auto is, if your leader is an android, when you play this card with successor, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose up to 3 battle cards from their hand and place them in the drop. Then choose up to 1 of your opponent's leader cards and negate its non-keyword skills for the turn. So you pay 1 extra energy, and you don't get to use your opponent's 17, 18, oh well, but you get to rip 3 cards from their hand and negate their leader's skills. So if you've got a leader with like blocker or anything that lets it add power during the attacks or whatever, you turn that off. And then you just get a nice 30k triple striker. So that's why I like running 3 of it. It's just really good. And then because I have it, we have a singular copy of our secret rare, Cell Xeno. So it's 40k, obviously ultimate, deflect, energy exhaust, successor for no cost, you just have to have 12 cost on the board. And then it's got an auto, if you have 5 more energy, when you place from your hand, choose 3 cards in your opponent's hand and place them in the drop, and this gains dual attack and quad strike for the turn. It has quad strike up here, but they made it part of the auto just so that you had to be on the 5 energy to get it, because a lot of time people will be on low energy, play this out because it has no successor cost, and they could just very quickly get a 40k quad striker on the board. So when you hit 5, you'll have a dual attacking quad striker, which is just as good. And to be fair, hitting them twice with this, they probably aren't going to survive. That's the idea. It's why it's ultimate. So with all that being said and done, that is set 21 Cell for you all. Thank you very much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.